All right, I guess we're live. Okay, everyone. How's everyone doing? This is another sit down with Michael Franzese. And as you can see, I'm not in my studio.
You have no viewers on yet.
Oh, where are they?
They're not on yet. There's 0 watching.
Okay.
So you don't need to talk yet.
We're not on yet because we have 68 waiting.
There you go. They're on. 89 people are on.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Here we are, everyone. Luckily, I got some help here. As you can see, I'm not in my studio. I'm actually in a cigar lounge here in St. Moritz in Switzerland. And many of you know I've been away for the past week at my daughter's wedding. We had a great time. She was married this past weekend in Lake Como. It was a magical event. I have to say that Italy is beautiful. For all those of you who have never made it there, I just hope and pray and wish that one day you will. It was really terrific. Now we're in Switzerland, and we've been here for the last 2 days. I got to tell you something, people. Switzerland is absolutely amazing. Every place you look, it's like a scene out of a postcard. It's really unbelievable. It's one of the most expensive, from what I found out, places in all of Europe. But the people are wonderful. We found out everywhere that we go, and we just had a great time. From here, I'm going to Croatia. But I like to stay in touch with my viewers, and I'm doing a live because I got some things that I really want to talk about. While I'm away, certain things happen that haven't made me happy. Now, you people know it. I have a tendency to rant a little bit, but I'm in a pretty good mood. We just had dinner a little while ago, and I want to talk to you about a couple of things that I wasn't too happy about back in the States. We will answer some questions. We'll do that. I have 3 topics that I want to cover tonight. One is this Mamdani, the mayor of New York, who you all know I'm not very happy with. We'll get into that a little bit. I think you know what he's done here in the past several weeks with the Italian Americans that I found it very offensive myself. Secondly, we're going to talk about Andrew and Tristan Tate. Big news. It's all over social media and everywhere else that they've been arrested. And they're trying to extradite them back to the United Kingdom to answer some charges. We're going to get into that. And then just a couple other things I want to talk about, people, But let's start off with Mamdani. People, let me tell you what he did. Many of you probably know this already. But what he did, he created this map for all the soccer players, and he put in all these various cities, but he left out Little Italy. Now, he said it was an accident. If you believe that, there's a bridge in Brooklyn that I'll sell you to. You know it wasn't an accident. He did it on purpose. You know who this guy is? You know who he reminds me of? He's like a kid in a candy store. All of a sudden, he's in charge of the biggest city in the world, one of the biggest cities in the world. And before I get into anything, he did 2 things. Number one, he forgets to put Little Italy on the map. And number 2, he denies the Italian American Civil Rights League a license to celebrate Columbus Day like we've done for the past 55 years, going back to when Joe Colombo started the league. I'm personally involved in that. Going to get into that. Every year, they've been holding this event, the Italian American Civil Rights League has, that Joe Colombo started. Well, this year, he would not give them a license to hold the event. So what does that tell you? I want you first to hear some of the reaction of some of the Italian Americans after Mamdani did this. We have a little reel that we're going to play. Take a look.
Mamdani, I give you a year. You are not a New Yorker. You have no clue.
I'm Isabella Reggi, and today we are here in Little Italy asking the locals how they feel about one of the oldest immigrant communities, Little Italy, not being included on Mayor Mamdani's immigrant enclave map.
I don't consider you to be my mayor.
I think it's disgraceful for what he's doing. He's got to be fair to everybody, and he's not fair to everybody. He's not fair to the Jewish people, which he makes everybody notice he's not fair to the Jewish people. He's not fair to the Irish people. And now he hates the Italians. For what reason? What do we do to him that he should hate us?
They always sort of pushed us to the side. I got it. Yeah. In other words, Little Italy, they take care of their own problems. And we're always pushed aside. And I think it's about time that we have to be firm about this. Otherwise, we'll totally be forgotten.
If you understand what took place here over 100 years ago, between 1880 and 1920, when the mass migration of Italian immigrants first came, this was the stepping stone for the Italians.
Well, the Bari family came here 120 years ago from Sicily. They were immigrants. They landed down in what's known as the Five Points. Grandma started the San Gennaro Festival. That right up there, that is Grandma. That is Grandma. Grandma from the Bari family. Okay, she is the heart and soul of this neighborhood.
My grandfather was on the Society of St. Gennaro, which happens to be this year 100 years. So it means a lot to me, Little Italy, you know?
There's no such thing as left or right down here. Both sides of the street are beautiful.
And what makes New York City such a special place is a collage of many different cultures. People from all over the world come here and settle. And they need to be recognized for the contributions that they brought to this wonderful country.
Yeah, and you know what? These people are rightfully outraged because this wasn't an accident. And let me tell you why. It wasn't only Little Italy that he left out. He left out not only Italian Americans, but Jewish, Irish, and Greek communities. He left out all of these, but here's who he included. Listen to this. He featured places like Little Palestine in Bay Ridge, Little Bangladesh, Little Egypt in Astoria, multiple Chinatowns, and various Central South American, African, and other more recent or specific ethnic spots, which, by the way, he should have included them. We're not saying that, hey, you know, he left out Italian Americans and he should have left out all of these, or he should have kept Italian Americans and left out all of these. No. All of these little neighborhoods where certain ethnic groups, you know, have kind of a base, you know, he should include them all. But why would you leave out Italian Americans? Why would you leave out Greeks? Why would you leave out Jewish? Well, we know that he's an anti-Semite. That's very obvious. But why would he do that and then come around and say, oh, it was by accident? No, it wasn't. You know, this guy is not fooling anybody. People, listen to me. He is a socialist. But understand this. I want to get into this because it's very important. All of these people now that want to push socialism, they're pushing it on you. They're not including themselves in that. They don't give a damn about you. All this is about is having control over you because they're not going to live the same way you do. If the government is going to be handing out everything to all of you, it's only a reason for them to take control of you because they're not going to participate in that. If they were so concerned about you people, why would this country be $37 trillion in debt? They caused that. You didn't cause it. Many of you out there paid your taxes. You gave the money to them in good faith, believing that they were going to do the right thing with it. Instead, they enrich themselves, every one of them, even the ones that want to be socialists. They enrich themselves. They live well. They get all the perks. And meanwhile, they're leading you to believe that it's the wealthy people who support them, who give them money, who are their biggest donors. They're the ones that they cater to. This is all a big lie. You need to understand that it's all a big lie. Anytime the government wants to give you handouts, it's only because they want to control you. And remember, the handouts that they are giving you are your money. It's your taxpayer money that they're using. It's not their money. It's not anybody else's. It's your money. This is all the biggest scam, bigger than any mob scam, any mafia scam, any gasoline scam. This is the biggest scam that they perpetrate on you all the time. You need to understand this. Mamdani is doing this, and all of these socialists are doing this only to have control over you. You know, President Reagan said it right, and it doesn't matter that he's a Republican, he's a Democrat. He said it right. He said, one of the worst things that you could ever hear is this: hi, we're from the government and we're here to help you. As soon as you hear that, you know you're in trouble. And people, let me tell you something. I wish that everybody can have a great healthcare system at a right price. I think universal healthcare would be a good thing. And there are some countries where it really works. I think it would be a good thing. If we can do that, it would be wonderful. But you know what? That's up to Congress to do. Congress hasn't been able to do this. Congress can pass a law or create a healthcare system that works for everyone, but they haven't done it. The same way they can create a system for immigration that works for everyone, but they haven't done it. It's on them. It's not on the billionaires. It's not on, this is all a smokescreen and a scam. It's all of these politicians, Republicans, Democrats, they all come to office. They all make themselves wealthy. They all waste taxpayer money. And then they want to make believe that they care about all of you. They don't. Mamdani is a fraud. He's a phony. He's a fake. If I saw him in the street, I'd tell him the same thing. I'm not saying anything different here. Listen, I've lived out in California now for many years, but I'm a New Yorker at heart. I was born and raised there. I love the city. I love the state. But what this guy is doing is horrible. Now, let me get to another point. All of a sudden, after 55 years, he's refused the Italian American Civil Rights League a license to go out and celebrate Columbus Day like they've been doing for 55 years, ever since Joe Colombo started it back in 1971. Why is he doing this? People, I take that personal. Joe Colombo, and listen, this is not a mob thing anymore. This is a legitimate thing run by Italian Americans who are proud of their heritage, who don't bother anybody, who don't impose anything on anybody. They just want to celebrate the contributions that Italian Americans have made to the state of New York. And there have been many. We came over here legally back in the early 1900s. We built the subway, we built the bridges, we built the roads, we built the buildings. Not alone, but we certainly participated in the building of New York as you see it now. Why would he tend to insult us? He didn't insult the Palestinians. He didn't insult people from Bangladesh. Why would he insult Italian Americans? This guy's a fraud and a phony, and he should be ashamed of himself. I look at him, like I said, like a kid in a candy store. He had a privileged upbringing. He didn't suffer at all. And let me tell you something, people. We have to take responsibility. I don't live in New York anymore. I can't vote for the mayor. But we have to take some responsibility for this. The only reason he is the mayor of New York, and I understand it, he didn't have many choices. Cuomo was not a good choice. We all know what he did during COVID. We all know what kind of a governor he was. He wasn't a good choice. We understand that. But people didn't get out and vote. The DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, they had a great ground game. They got to our young people that are being brainwashed in these colleges that socialism is all of a sudden a good thing. This country became the wealthiest country in the world because of capitalism. And let me tell you this right now. Let me tell you what hypocrites and phonies these are. $37 trillion in debt. Do you know that nobody should be poor or suffering in this country? It's the politicians that did it. It's not you or me, and it's not the billionaires. It's the politicians that have wasted the money that taxpayers have given to them year after year after year. That's why we're in debt. They take care of themselves. They don't care about the people. It's a big smokescreen. It's a big bill of goods that they're trying to sell you. It's all nonsense. And I'm talking about all of them. Republicans, Democrats, independents. When they get into that office, they think they're better than you. They think that they deserve more than you. They think that they're entitled more than you. They're not. They're public servants. We tend to forget that. You put them in office. I put them in office. We elected them. We pay for them. And they abuse us, many of them. Why is Nancy Pelosi a multimillionaire? Why? She's there on a congressional salary of a couple of $100,000 a year. She's one of the most wealthiest women in the country. You know the deal, insider trading. That's what she does. She gets away with it. You and I would go to jail. I'm talking about politicians across the board. Don't let them sell you on socialism. Let them sell you on doing their job for us. That's all there is to it. We shouldn't have a homeless person in this country. There is enough money around that we pay in our taxes that there shouldn't be any problem with either our health care or the homeless situation, but they don't care. They have wasted our money consistently year after year after year. And how do they resolve the deficits that they have? By taxing us more. Do you understand? I want you to think about this for a minute. We're $37 trillion in debt. That's taxpayer money that they squandered. And the reason and the way they want to fix it is by taxing you more. Does it make sense? Of course not. Of course not. But this is what they do. These people need to be voted out of office. We need to make them understand we're not going to tolerate this from this anymore. This Mamdani, I'm praying that he is a one-term guy. He now wants to get on his, high horse and say he's going to arrest Netanyahu when Netanyahu comes here. Please. He's not going to do anything of a kind. This guy's a coward. No question about it. I got to tell you something. People have asked me, Mike, would you guys have stood up for this back in the day? We wouldn't have liked Mamdani. No, I understand that because I know you don't get this, but mob guys, we may have done our thing and we may have violated the law, and there's no question about that. But many guys fought in the war. They were patriots. We took care of our neighborhoods and our communities and our people. Anybody knows that. John Gotti's funeral, the procession was long. People in the neighborhood adored him because he took care of the people in his neighborhood and his community. And again, I don't want to get into all of that. Oh, who is a killer and all that? Yes, we did damage to our own. And every once in a while, we did damage to others. There's no question about that. We have to take responsibility for it. No question. But I'm telling you this right now. Many politicians in office are worse than some of the guys that I knew on the street, without a doubt. You know why? We didn't take an oath to uphold, the law. We didn't take an oath to work for the benefit of the people. We didn't do any of that. We were who we were. These people take an oath to act in your behalf, and they get into office and they totally violate that. They enrich themselves, and you could all be damned. All of them. Mamdani, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're an embarrassment. All these things that you want to try to do, you're not going to do it. You're chasing people out of New York. And I got to ask you this. What is this thing with billionaires? These people, the Jeff Bezos of the world, the Elon Musks, that work their asses off and use the system the right way. And as a result, they gain great wealth for themselves. Why do we resent that? Why? Do you know how many people Bezos puts to work on Amazon? Do you know how many people Elon Musk puts to work through his companies? Do you understand that? Do you understand he puts out products that benefit all of us? Why do we resent them? Well, they don't pay their fair share of taxes. Why not? Why not? Because Congress doesn't create a system to where there are no loopholes that they can do to avoid paying taxes? If they do, I'm not saying they do, but if that's the case, the Bernie Sanders and all these people, he's part of Congress. Fix the system. Fix it. Don't blame them for a system that you created. Don't blame them for loopholes that you created. It's the same with healthcare. Create a system that works for all of us, like they've done in various countries. Here in Scandinavia, they have healthcare systems that work. They may not be superior to ours in the administration or administering the healthcare, but they work for a number of people. Why can't our Congress do that? They're a bunch of hypocrites. That's all they are, people. I'm sorry. I just have to open your eyes to all of this. We have a governor, Newsom, same way. Total phony, total hypocrite, total liar. He's taken more money in from people to create a railway system, billions of dollars. He hasn't laid one piece of track. Our healthcare system is underwater with fraud. We're underwater with everything. And he stands up there on his high horse. He's a phony. He's a hypocrite. He's worth millions of dollars. He's enriched himself at the behest and at the detriment of the people of California. You got him on this end in the West Coast. You got Mamdani in New York, who's going to destroy that city. Just look, more people are moving to Miami, to Texas. They're leaving New York because of this maniac, and that's all that he is. He's a racist maniac. I'm sorry. That's the truth. That's the truth. So look, people, he should be ashamed of himself for what he's doing. He shouldn't be biased. He shouldn't be a hypocrite. And if he has a certain feeling about a certain ethnic group, keep it to yourself. You're the mayor of all the people, all the people. And the way you're conducting yourself is an embarrassment and it's a disgrace. And I have a right, because I'm a former New Yorker and I still have family there and I still have friends and relationships, and they're all sick and tired of what you're doing. You should be ashamed of yourself. And all you young people, they're brainwashing you into believing that you need them. You don't need them. You don't want them. All they're trying to do is control you. That's it. This isn't a fair distribution of wealth. It's all nonsense because they're going to get a lot more than what they consider to be your fair share. Trust me on that. They're all a bunch of phonies and hypocrites. We're the ones that have to stick together. Let's force Congress, force them to give us a good healthcare system. Let's force Congress to use our money for our benefit, not to waste $37 trillion while they're all becoming wealthy. That's it. It's on them. It's not on us. They sell us a bill of goods. That's just a big lie. Look at the result. It's a big lie. I don't want to rant too much more about this, but Mamdani, you should be ashamed of yourself. You really should. I say, he's a kid in a candy store. He got into office. He's got the biggest city in the world, and now he thinks who the hell he is. He's a clown in my view. Look at him, a total clown. And unfortunately, our young people are being brainwashed into believing that he's some kind of a savior, that he's not gonna do anything. Trust me, because people in this country are too wise to his nonsense. And I know he's making some inroads. That's because people are apathetic. They're not going to the polls. They're not voting. But I think we're going to see a change. We're going to see a difference. I'm telling you now. Let's move on. All right, we have a subject now that's people, I know is very sensitive, and this is Andrew and Tristan Tate. And let me put it out there because I don't back down. Andrew and Tristan Tate, they're friends of mine. I've got to know these young men fairly well over the past 5 years. And let me tell you what I believe about this whole deal with the United Kingdom. I have watched them. I have read all the information, or quite a bit, let me be clear, of the information that was presented in the Romanian case. It was all garbage. That case fell apart because it was all garbage. It was nonsense, absolute nonsense. Here's what happened here. Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate started to speak out about what it means to be a man. Now, I want to put this out here too, and they're my friends. I'm not saying anything different that I wouldn't say to them. Yes, they've said things that are controversial. Yes, they've said things that sometimes you say, God, why are you saying this about women? Why? We understand. I don't agree with everything that they say. I don't. But I know these young men. I want to tell you something about Andrew Tate. I visited him in Dubai. We were there for a couple of weeks together. We went to the zoo. And by the way, when I was in Andrew's presence many times, I had my wife and daughter with me, my whole family. Perfect gentleman, him and Tristan. Perfect gentleman. That's number one. Number two, on one day with Dubai, we went to the zoo. We went to Andrew's friend, runs one of the zoos there in Dubai. We went. Andrew took one of his I can't call her his wife, but they were very, very close. And he's had a child with this woman, his little daughter. Little girl loved him. That's her daddy. The way he treated her that day, have her on his shoulder, you could tell. He loves her and she loved him. He was a good father. He's a good father to his children. I watched him. I watched him with other people. I've sat with him. We've had conversations, and I've looked at the information, the evidence, so-called evidence that was presented against him. It's all garbage. You cannot speak against these progressive people. You can't. They want to come after you. They want to hurt you. They want to kill you. They want to put you in jail. They want to bankrupt you. This is the deal. I had a tour in the United Kingdom, a speaking tour. Prior to my tour, I was with Andrew and Tristan in Romania. We took some photos together. The photos were big on social media. When I got to the United Kingdom, one woman in Parliament tried to stop my entire tour, called me a misogynist. Me. Married 41 years. I have 5 daughters. I have granddaughters. I'm anything but a misogynist. She called me a misogynist just because I had a photo with Andrew Tate. She threatened every one of the venues that I was speaking in and told them they would lose their business license if they held the event. She didn't care about the people. She didn't care about all of the people that paid to come and see me speak, like 11 different venues throughout the United Kingdom. She didn't care about any of that. Lose the money, whatever. She didn't care because she just had it in for Andrew Tate and then had it in for me just for associating with him. These people are crazy. Now, I don't know all the facts in the United Kingdom, but I am telling you right now, I do not believe, based upon my experience, my knowledge, and what I've seen other districts try to do to these 2 men, I do not believe these charges. I'm sorry. I don't. I've seen them both with their ladies. I've seen them with my wife and my daughter. I spent a lot of time with them. I've sat down with them. I've interviewed them. They had a case in California, fell apart. A case in Miami. If it hasn't fallen apart, it will fall apart. The case in Romania fell apart. And the same thing will happen in the United Kingdom if they get a fair shake. If they get a fair shake. I don't know if that's going to happen. But I'm supportive of these 2 men. Now, let me tell you this too. If they had done so, remember these are old charges. They go back to 2010 to 2017, somewhere in between that time. Now, look, people, I've told you this many times. I view everybody as innocent until proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty. That's just the way I feel because I know I've been to trial 7 times. I've been to trial 5 times. I've been indicted 7 times. I know how the courts and how the justice system can play games. I understand it. I get it. And I would tell you this too. If there was evidence and these men were ever convicted of something that I thought was vile, I would say it. Wouldn't mean that I wouldn't be their friends. We all make mistakes in life. We all did something. This is something that happened several years ago. I would still be their friend, but I would tell them this was wrong. Obviously, it was wrong. But people, I don't believe it. There's something going on here. I don't believe it. Are they going to be extradited? I don't know. I mean, I read today that the United States is not going to interfere in the extradition. I don't know. They have a right, to fight extradition all the way. I think they should. I don't think the United States should be doing the bidding of the United Kingdom. That's just my feeling. The United Kingdom hasn't been very friendly to us. They refuse to allow us to use their military base in the war with Iran. What's going on there? You can get locked up there for social media comments. People are getting, knifed in the street. There's a lot of bad stuff going on in the United Kingdom. It became very progressive. A lot of and I love the UK. I love the city of London. I love the people. Love them. Every time we're talking about government, whether it be here in the United States or in the United Kingdom, we're talking about government. It's not the people. It's the governments that are causing all this destruction and distress. Remember this. Get that through your head. It is the governments, the leaders, the people in charge that are causing all of this havoc and distress. It's them. The divisiveness in America. It's the government. All this rhetoric that's going back and forth, all this foul language, it trickles down to the people. And all of a sudden, they're doing the same thing. They've caused it. If they've acted civilly towards one another and knew how to talk and knew how to express themselves, we wouldn't have all this division. I'm telling you, we wouldn't. They did it. You got to point the finger where it belongs. This is all the government that has caused this. It's not the people. It's not the people. So look, I'm supporting these 2 men. They're innocent until proven guilty. I believe if they got a fair shot in court, these charges would fall apart. They would. I'm sorry. I've seen it happen in Romania. I saw it happen in California. We saw it happen in Miami. All of these women, these Johnny-come-lately women, come on. It's not right. And I want to tell you this. You know who you should blame? Andrew Tate has tried to teach men how to be men, and Tristan also. If there's a problem here, you know who you got to blame? You got to blame us. Us. Here in America, we've made men out to be feminine. We've made men out to be useless in many ways. Fathers, instead of teaching them, when you have a child, you marry a woman and you take care of that child. You become a father, not a sperm donor, a father. And you take up a responsibility because kids need a father. People, I was in prison with dozens and dozens of young men with no father figure in their house. And what happens? Gangbangers, drug addicts, thugs on the street because they have no fathers. So why do they cling to somebody like Andrew Tate? Why do they look up to me? A lot of you now call me Uncle Mike because I'm trying to teach you the right way to go. Don't blame Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is a figure that they're looking up to because he acts like a man. He tells them what to do to be a man, how you should act. It's our failure. If our children have to look up to somebody outside of our household, it's us that's failing. We are. Don't forget that. You don't blame Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate because young men are looking for a role model, looking for a figure that they can emulate. And he's touched a chord with them. Because ever since the, Married with Children, that television show, and Archie Bunker, and all of these shows that made men, Modern Family, made men look like idiots and jerks. They try to dumb down what manhood really is. And I've said this many times, people, and for you ladies out there, understand this. When a man acts like a man and takes care of his responsibility, it is a benefit to women. It's not a detriment. It is a benefit. Because they treat women the way they're supposed to be treated. So look, we'll see how it turns out, but I am supporting the brothers because like California, like Romania, like Miami, wherever that other case was, I believe the case in the United Kingdom, if dealt fairly, would fall apart. I hope they don't get extradited. I really hope, because I don't think they're going to get a fair shake there. That's my opinion. And I'll do my best to support them because, like I said, I know them better than anybody here that's going to be looking at this, anybody that's going to be asking a question. And I will go along with you. The things they say sometimes, I even say, Andrew, why are you saying this? Why are you saying this? Because you're going to inflame people. This is not who you really are at times. I've seen you with women. I've seen you with your child. I've seen you. You're a good person. You are. But he says things that are inflammatory at times. I get it. And people think, well, that's how he actually practices. No, not the truth. And I'm praying for them. I'm hoping they get a break and a fair shake. Really, I don't know why, that the United States all of a sudden took this position with them, why we would support United Kingdom and something like this. Let them let these guys get a fair shake that they're not going to get in the United Kingdom. They won't. They won't. I don't believe it. So, look, all we can do at this point in time is wait and see what happens. Now, I want to move on to another subject. And that subject now is Hunter Biden. And this is it. And then we're going to open it up for Q&A. Hunter Biden is out there now. He's doing podcasts. He did Candace Owens. He's done a couple of podcasts. And he's defending his father. And one of the things he said was really inflammatory. And let me tell you something. The only reason he's out there, he don't give a damn about anybody, Hunter Biden. I don't have to, you know what he's all about. He doesn't give a damn about anybody. Hunter Biden is out there because he's trying to sell his paintings. That's it. He's putting his paintings up there. He's getting out there. He's trying to sell his paintings. But he said something that really touched a chord with me. He said one of the mistakes that he made was hiring or appointing Merrick Garland as the U.S. attorney because Merrick Garland didn't go after Donald Trump enough and prosecute him. Is he serious? Really? Donald Trump has been the most prosecuted guy, certainly ex-president, of anybody in history. They tried to bankrupt him. They've indicted him several times. They've took him to trial civilly. They've took him to trial criminally. They've impeached him twice. They've tried to bankrupt him. They went through his family. They did everything. And this guy turns out and says Merrick Garland didn't do enough. He's beating every case because it's all garbage. It's all garbage against him. And you have the nerve to say that Merrick Garland and Joe Biden's Department of Justice didn't do enough? Are you serious? Let me get back to you, Hunter Biden. You and your father, when your father was vice president and you peddled his vice presidency. You and him are both treasonous. And let me tell you something. You're talking to somebody here, or somebody here is talking with experience. The information that came out through the Senate hearings, or through the congressional hearings about yours and your father's when he was a vice president dealings, there was enough information there to indict both of you on a racketeering case. Without a doubt. I have had 3 RICO indictments against me. I know that statute inside out and upside down. Between the bank accounts that you had, okay? The bank accounts, the money that came into those accounts, the fact that you had over 18, I believe 21 companies that were shell companies, the fact that you extorted money from people, you had no brick and mortar operation, you had nothing, you were selling nothing but your father's vice presidency, the fact that he stood next to you on a call, that he met with people, that whistleblowers gave information. There was more information to indict the 2 of you. You're not kidding me. You and your father robbed money from people, extorted money from people, using the vice presidency as the wedge. Your father conspired with you. He should have been indicted along with you. And you want to talk about Trump? If you want to get mad at Trump's Department of Justice for not going after you. And then what happens in the end? You get pardoned. Your father pardons you. And he did it because he had to, because if you ever went to trial on that nonsense, all the stuff of your father would come out. He had to pardon you. He pardoned you to save himself. You're not kidding me. And you have the nerve to stand up there and say Merrick Garland didn't pursue Trump enough? What a piece of work you are. You're a bigger phony than your father. I'm sorry, Ben. This is not political. I'm telling you out of experience and knowledge. The suspicious bank accounts, many of them, the bank identified them, nobody else. The $27 million plus that came into those shell companies and then were dispersed to your family members and to you. And Joe, remember? Getting 10%, going back to him. Your relatives, your uncle that were involved in this scam, peddling the vice presidency. Who are you kidding? You should have been indicted. You deserve your day in court. Go and defend yourself. But you should have been indicted. There is more information about you than there was in any one of my RICO indictments. And that's a fact. And you know what? Any lawyer that's not on your side or prejudiced the way you are will tell you the exact same thing. There was absolutely enough. I blame this do-nothing Congress, these Republicans that come out and talk big and then do nothing. They're a bunch of phonies too. Oh, they're having all these congressional hearings. These congressional hearings are nothing but a dog and pony show. Nothing ever happens. Nobody gets indicted. Nothing happens. It's all nonsense. You're all one big team back there. Republicans and Democrats. I'm sorry. But I've really had enough of this. Enough of the hypocrisy. People, look, I was there. I know it. I can see through this in a heartbeat. Hunter Biden getting up there and trying to defend his father. Give me a break. You're defending your father because he bailed you out to save himself and to save you. And you want to complain and talk, you should just keep your mouth shut and go away. You got away with practically murder, Really. You should have been in prison too. And by the way, let me remind all of you, your father, was guilty of having classified documents in his house that he shouldn't have. He was guilty of it. But what does his own special counsel, his own special prosecutor say? He was too demented to stand for trial. So they let him go. He was guilty. He said he was guilty. You're not talking about that. He took classified documents, put them in his garage. This is how careful he was. When he was vice president, he had no authority to take them. He was guilty of it. It came out. He tried to hide it. He hid the fact that he was incapable of being the president of the United States. Used the auto pen. You don't even know who he pardoned. You're not kidding anybody. This has nothing to do with Trump. We're talking specifically about you and your father. So stop your nonsense, Merrick Garland. Trump was the most prosecuted guy ever. Please, at least be honest with the American people. Talk the truth or shut your mouth and just disappear. Even your own people don't want to talk. All you're doing now is getting up there to sell your paintings. That's all you care about, because the millions of dollars that you put up your nose or whatever the hell you did with it, you're broke. You didn't even take care of your own kids. Who are you kidding? People, that's it. I'm here having a great time, but when I hear this kind of stuff, look, all I say this for, all is so that you're alert, you're aware. Don't let these people pull the wool over your eyes. Don't let them do it. That's all I'm saying. And I don't care who it is, Republican, Democrat, Trump, and I'm telling you the truth. You ask me something about Trump, I'll tell you if I like it or I don't like it. I'll tell you if I agree with it or I don't agree with it. Because I've said this, for many of his policies, Trump, I agree with. There's some things that he's done that I not agree with. I don't like his rhetoric. I don't like the way he talks at times. I don't like some of the things that he says. But some of his policies, yes, I agree with. I can't. It doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump or the man in the moon. If he's in charge and he has policies that I agree with, I'm going to agree with him. If Joe Biden had policies that I agree with, I would agree with him. If Joe Biden came out and said this, I'm sorry, people, but I don't believe that men should be competing against women. Trans men should be competing in women's sports. I would agree with him. I don't care if he's a Republican or a Democrat. I would agree with him. If Joe Biden said, I don't want, surgery for minors, to change their gender, I would agree with him. I would absolutely agree with him. I may not like him, but if that's his policy and I agree with it, I would agree with him. Doesn't mean I have to like Joe Biden. I like his policies. I'd still say he was a treasonous guy for what he did, but he has a policy that I agree with. I want you to understand that. If Trump has a policy I agree with, I'm going to say I agree with that policy. And if he does something I don't like, I'm going to say it. This war in Iran, let me tell you something, people. I will be honest with you on this, okay? I don't know if it was a good idea. I don't believe Iran should ever have a nuclear weapon. I believe they would use it against us or Israel, 100%. These people can't be trusted. Look at them. They're murderers. They're animals. They murder their own people. They just executed 2 young men for trying to hide people that were running away from them being executed. They ran away, and they just hung them in the square. They're helping people that were hiding, okay, from people that wanted to kill them. They're executing. These are animals. They would use a nuclear weapon if they had it, no doubt. So yeah, but should he have gotten into the war? People, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. He did make a statement, he's campaigned on no new wars. And he went against that. And maybe that's going to hurt him. Maybe it's going to hurt us in the midterms. I don't know. I don't know if it was a good idea, quite honestly. Maybe in the end it'll work out to be a good idea. I don't know. Can I say I support that policy 1,000,000%? No, I can't, because I don't know. When I know, I'll say I know. What I don't know, I don't know. I don't know. Look, I'm gonna open up for some questions now, because I think you got where I'm coming from on this. But Mamdani, let me just be clear. Kid in a candy store, doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Very bad for New York. Very bad. Chasing people out of there left and right. Okay, they're all leaving. All the billionaires that he hates that supported that city, they're all leaving. We'll see what's going to happen in the end. You know what he's going to do? He's going to tax all of you more so he can open up a grocery store, put all the people around him that worked hard, broke their asses, invested their money. He's going to put them all out of business and use your tax money, okay, to sell you groceries. It makes no sense. He doesn't know the first thing about business. Nothing. He's a kid in a candy store, and you gave him a big candy store, unfortunately. He's going to destroy New York. Trust me on that. Doesn't have a clue what he's doing. Italian Americans have every right to be upset with him, and every other ethnic group that he just shunned, they all have a right to be upset with him, because who the hell does he think he is to get away with something like that? And I hope he's held accountable. I really do. That's all I can say. All right, we're going to open it up for a couple of questions. Not going to keep you too long. Just a couple of questions I'm going to take. I got all my kids here. I got to tell you, this has been a great couple of days. All my kids came in for the wedding. We had a great time. I'm going to be honest with you. It was wonderful. Let me get to the questions. Hang on a minute. Okay. All right. Let me see what we got here. Okay. Let me slow it down. But he did mention Iran on the campaign trail also decades back when it happened. Yes. Mamdani is a spoiled rich kid. I agree with you. All right. We have questions or just statements? Be the change you want. Okay. They're exactly the same. All these, okay, just like Tony Montana. All right. That's a stupid thing. I'm not going to respond to that. I'm Italian and actually just discovered him, sending you hugs from my villa in Lake Como. Oh, too bad we didn't get to meet each other here. I love Lake Como. It's absolutely beautiful. They haven't admitted to anything serious. The Tates have not admitted to anything serious because they pled innocent on this case, because I believe they are. Trump has kids and grandkids. He doesn't want future generations getting terrorized by Iran. I agree. Listen, I think Trump's motivation is sincere. Anybody that doesn't realize that Iran is a threat to us, there's something wrong. If they could blow us off the face of the earth, they would do it. Why would you want them to have a nuclear weapon? We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. I believe Trump is sincere in his motivation to make sure that they don't have a nuclear weapon. But on the other, should he have went to war? I really don't know. I don't know if it was a good idea or not. I don't know if the timing was right. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. But you know what? I'm going to tell you this, people. I learned this on the street. I've maintained this all my life. The best way to defeat your enemies is to make them your friends. No doubt about it. The best way. But when you can't make them your friends, then you have to minimize them some way. That's it. Iran is never going to be our friend. Not this administration, not this government there. They're never going to be our friend. Never. If they got a nuclear weapon, they would hurt us. They would immediately try to blow Israel off the face of the earth. A lot of you don't care about that. I happen to care about people. I don't care if they're Israeli or whatever ethnic background they are. We don't want to see innocent people get killed, period. So his motivation, I believe, was correct in saying they will never have a nuclear weapon. How this is going to end up in the end, I don't know. I just hope Trump finishes it. He should get some street mentality. And again, I don't know all the politics behind this, but he needs to get some street mentality and say, you know what? Enough. Let's get rid of these guys once and for all. Let's have an administration that's going to worry about the people of that country and make Iran somebody that we can live with. That's it. If I were president, I'm sorry. That's the way I would go. That's it. Okay. Mamdani will take people's apartments and put it in a trust for his people. Mamdani will rob every single one of us. He'll take all your taxpayer money. He'll become wealthy. He'll have all the perks. He'll live like a king. And you people will have nothing. That's exactly what Mamdani will do. The same thing that Pelosi does, not as a socialist, the same thing that all of these politicians do. They will make themselves wealthy at your expense. And when they blow your money, they'll raise your taxes and take more of it. That's all they're going to do. That's it. And you should be thankful to the billionaires. Don't resent them. Because if the billionaires weren't paying the most of the taxes, you people would really be starving, because government is not going to give it to you. They're not going to give it to you. They're a bunch of phonies and hypocrites, Republicans, Democrats, independents. Once they get in office, you can't trust 95% of them. Sorry. I'll subscribe. Thank you very much. Okay, let me get to as many as I possibly can. We got about 15 minutes and then we're out. I'm going to do what Nancy Pelosi does now that I know there are no repercussions. No, if you have insider trading, you are going to jail. Nancy Pelosi's not going to jail. You're going to jail. That's it. You can't do it. You do insider trading, you're done. Okay, thanks for admitting that you wouldn't be here if you had money, but you are here. I don't know what you're talking about. You got to explain yourself better, my friend. The policies of Donald Trump will make the U.S. implode like the USSR because Trump is no politician or a statesman. He is a gambler, and the U.S. is a casino in his eyes. Well, you know what, people, you're entitled to your opinion. If that's how you feel about Trump, that's how you feel. I'm not going to dispute it, and I'm not going to support it. Like I said to you many times, I support many of Trump's policies. I'm going to leave it at that. Lindsay was a closet gay. I don't want to do that. I agree with you, Michael. Thank you very much. Okay, especially in the beginning, Trump used to address every insult with an insult. It was kindergarten stuff. I totally agree with that. 100%. I agree with that 100%. Trump, he should be a lot more diplomatic. He's not. That's just the way he is.
Ask anybody else. Everybody was there. I guess you can make that say what you
All right, people, do we have any questions? I see a lot of statements here that everybody else can read. Do we have any questions? Joseph Biden and the usual traitors of the 101st Democratic run Congress repealed the McCarthy. Okay. You know, I'm not going to read the statements. If you have a question of me, we got about 5 minutes. I will answer the question, and then we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to let you go. By the way, it's 1:30 in the morning here in St. Moritz, Switzerland. So I stayed up to do this, and thank you very much. We have a lot of people on here. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, I'll take them. We got about another 5 minutes. If not, I'm going to wrap it up. Okay. I'm looking through. Do I see anything? Michael Franzese for governor. Sorry, people.
You want me to ask you a question?
Yeah, I have my son here. Ask me a question, son.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Did you get mad at me when I supported Giuliani? After I remember I came out to California to visit.
Yes.
9/11 happened, and you had already been prosecuted by it, but I already lived there, and I know he cleaned up the city, and I was a fan.
Okay. My son asked this is my older boy, John. I got my two boys here, my grandson, Jax. So I'm very privileged to have them with me. My son asked me, was I upset with him when he supported Giuliani? At one time, yes, because Giuliani prosecuted me. He told me he was going to give me double what my father got, which would have been 100 years if he convicted me. Now, I was acquitted in that case, so I beat the case, but I was upset with my son for liking Giuliani. But I have to agree with him. Giuliani was a great mayor during the whole 9/11 deal. He was a great mayor. And even before then, yes, even before then, he cleaned up the city. He really did. And I have to say this. I was in prison, and they were transporting me from California back to New York. The Marshals were. I had to go for some hearing or something, right? So they had me in the car. We were going to lock me up in MDC. And I said to the Marshals, hey, I haven't had Dunkin' Donuts in a while. We have to go right away. And they said, no, Mike, we're going to drive you around. We went into Manhattan, and I couldn't believe what I saw. 42nd Street, totally clean. It used to be a pimp paradise there. He totally cleaned up that city. He did a great job. He was America's mayor, but I still didn't like him, right? I was appreciative of what he did, but I didn't like him. But now I have to tell you this. Many of you know this. About 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, a good friend of mine has a big radio show, said, Mike, I want you to come on. Rudy's coming on the show, and I want you to face him. He said, will you come? I said, absolutely, I'll come. We get on the show, and I'm ready to go at Rudy, and he looks back and he says, Michael, I just want to tell you something. I said, what, Rudy? He said, I've been watching you for the last 30 years, and I believe your transformation is sincere. I'm glad I didn't put you in prison. Well, he just took everything out of me, right? We had a great conversation, and I now became a great friend of his. really good friend. I like Rudy a lot. He's a good man. So my son was right and I was wrong. He had a right to prosecute me. I committed a crime and he came after me. But back then I didn't think that way, you know. But he had a right to come after me. Fortunately, I was acquitted in that case. I was innocent, I'll be honest with you. Rudy got it wrong. But anyway, John, that was a good question. Mike, you got anything for me?
Yeah, I have a question. How do we stop or put a halt on this whole Islam movement that seems to be taking over New York, seems to be taking over Michigan, and it seems like their slow plan to take over the USA ultimately is slowly in work. So what is, how do we offset that?
That's
It's very apparent that it's becoming more flooded, especially in New York and big cities. But how do we combat that, or what's the issue with that?
That's a great question. My younger son, Michael Jr., my junior, he said, how do we deal with what's happening here in America with Islam becoming so prominent and them, coming into many of our cities? And I'll tell you what the problem is. Nobody is against Islam. You could practice the religion that you want to practice. As a Christian, I believe that we believe that we're the only true faith, but we don't come against you for practicing yours. But here's the problem with Islam. They don't want to assimilate into the United States. They want to change us. They want us to become Islam. They want us to go along with them. And sometimes they don't do it in a nice way. That's the problem. And there are a lot of cities in Texas now that Islam is becoming the major faith in those cities, also in New York and other places. And like I said, you're in the United States. You have to assimilate into our country. We don't have to assimilate into your faith. We don't have to assimilate into your culture. You're coming into our country, and it's your job to assimilate into our culture here in the United States. And it's apparent in many, many places that they don't want to do that. So what do we do to combat that? It's a good question. We can't fold. We can't say, okay, all of a sudden now we become you instead of you becoming us. No, you're free to practice your religion. That's what this country is built upon. But you cannot impose your faith and your practices on us. And we have to stand up to that. Now, as a Christian, I'm never going to let that happen. Neither is anyone in my family. But people in other cities, you have to realize that. They can practice their faith, whatever, but they can't impose it upon us. And Mike, how we respond to that, it's really all up to us. Unfortunately, Islam, there is a certain stigma with Islam that maybe you're going to become violent, or maybe you're going to do things that we have to be worried about. I think that's the problem. And I haven't seen that. I mean, obviously we've had some issues with Islam, but I think that's the problem here in the United States. And you want to know something, Mike? That was Joe Biden's plan. Joe Biden's plan was to open up the borders, let everybody come here. But he didn't care about all he cared about is, hey, the Democrats allowed you in here. We're going to give you the ability to vote and make sure you vote for us. That was the whole plan. That was it. He didn't care about the people. He didn't care about race, what religion. He wasn't going to do anything for them. Nothing. He just wanted their votes. That's all he cared about. Get enough of them in here, fill the voting, positions, get them to vote without being citizens. They're doing that now. Who ever heard of not having to present an ID when you go to vote? You need your ID when you get an airplane. You need your ID when you go to the library. The mayor of New York was asking people to bring their ID to go shovel snow. This moron. And now he says you don't need an ID. It's racist to have an ID, and prove you're an American citizen or prove you have a right to vote. Come on. Good question.
All right, one last one.
One last question.
We're gonna take it off politics and make it personal.
Okay.
Your brother, my uncle, is coming. He's coming here soon, a couple weeks. He's gonna be on your show.
Yes. Yes. He'll be here. My brother John, my younger John, was saying to me that my brother John will be here in the next couple of weeks. He's going to stay with me for about a week in Newport Beach.
It's obviously controversial within our family and outside of family. Did some things, that maybe you don't agree with, I don't agree with. What are your feelings leading up to it? What are your expectations? How is this gonna play out, in your opinion?
All right, my son John, who loves his Uncle John. My son Michael also loves their uncle. My son John knows him a lot better because they grew up together in New York. How are we going to respond to him coming here? Now, for those of you that don't know, my brother at one time, he was a street kid, got himself in a jam, and actually started cooperating with the government and cooperated in a case against my father, against his father, my father, our father. And he was kind of estranged from the family for a long time, went into the witness protection program and all. I do not agree with that. My son John, my son Michael, we do not agree with what my brother did. Absolutely not. And I don't believe there was any excuse for that. And I have voiced that opinion to him. My son John was very disappointed in him because he was very close to him. But what do we do now? Do we accept him back into the family? Well, here's the deal. I had a good talk with my brother at one point, and he kind of let me understand his side of the story, how difficult it was growing up in our household. I don't want to get into all the details now. So I kind of thought about it and I said, okay, I understand some of the positions that you took, but I do not agree with the fact that you went against your father. I don't. I can't. So I believe you were wrong with that, but I do understand some of the things that you did. But forgetting all that for a minute, he's cleaned up his act. He was a drug addict for a long time, for 25 years. For the last 20 years, he's been clean. He's been actually helping other people with that problem. He runs a couple of drug homes. I don't know what you call them, rehabilitation homes. And he's really cleaned up his act. And I love my brother. I love him. Do I forgive him? Of course. Listen, I did things too that I've been forgiven for. Who am I not to forgive people? I forgive him because I believe he's sincere. He wants to be around his family. So I'm encouraging my family to accept him, take him in. And we got to forgive what he did in the past, even though we don't agree with it. Doesn't mean we agree, but we have to forgive him and we have to welcome him back into our family. Now, you know, all these wannabe tough guys and wise guys and make-believe guys on, oh, how can you do that? Your brother's a rat and you're a rat. No, you know, all nonsense. You know, all these keyboard tough guys. All I have to say about them, rather than do it on social media, just come and meet me anytime you want to talk. I'm here. I don't run and hide from anybody. But so you get that nonsense you'll hear from people. But I accept my brother back. I love my brother, and I'm encouraging my family to, you know, to take him in and let him be around his family. He's alone.
What do you think you're going to talk about? That's what I'm curious to.
He now wants to come on the podcast.
I know. So
Yeah.
I'm curious where this conversation is.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to ask him some tough questions. I really am. Because if he wants to air it out, I mean, look, you don't want to air out all your personal life on social media. I don't want to do that, but I think people wouldn't forgive me if I didn't ask him. And let him say what he wants to say. I mean, I'll let him talk. You know, we got to let him talk. But I feel for him. Look, he lives alone. He's got I don't know. I mean, he's still my kid brother.
He's happy to be seen.
Yeah, and he's so thrilled and excited to come here. So I don't want to, you know, give you all we got a lot of people on. I want to give you all my family stuff. But anyway, I want to hear what you have to think in the comments. Give me some intelligent comments that I can talk about. I want to hear what you have to say about Andrew and Tristan Tate. If you don't like them, that's up to you. I'm telling you from my personal experience with these men, I believe that the charges against them in the United Kingdom are all going to fall apart if they get a fair shake. But they don't like them there. And remember, it's not the people on the ground, it's the government. Remember, they had a bad case in California, fell apart. They had a case in Miami, fell apart. The case in Romania, garbage, fell apart. Okay, that's what's happening. They're after these guys because these guys, a lot of young men are looking up to them. And the reason for that is because people in this country, fathers are having kids out of wedlock, not taking care of their children. So they look to somebody else that they can look up to. And Andrew Tate, who is a boisterous guy, he's out there, the manosphere, the whole bit, they look up to him. Blame the fathers here. I'm sitting here with my son, Michael Jr. I didn't know what kind of dad he was going to be, but he's got such a responsibility towards my grandson. He's become a wonderful father because he knows he has that obligation. Why? Because I might have been tough on him at times, but I was his father and he didn't have to go to anybody else because I was there for him. Right or wrong, we disagreed, whatever. I tried to mentor him. Sometimes I made mistakes, whatever. But he knew he could turn to his father. And he had an uncle, and we had people around him, the men in his life that could give him direction. A lot of these kids don't have that. Fathers don't take responsibility, so they look up to somebody like Andrew Tate. Don't blame Andrew. Blame all the people that shirk their responsibility here. Blame all the people and all the women that say, oh, I don't need a father in the house. I don't need a husband. The hell you don't. I see a lot of these women never needed a man until they get into their 40s and 50s, and all of a sudden they're alone. They don't have a companion. Then they wish they had a man. The same one that you said you didn't need. Now you want him. Anyway, people, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to be doing a lot more lives. My team has been really encouraging me to do that. I'm going to be doing that. I will be back in a week, and our videos will be consistent again. We're just out here vacationing, people. I know you understand that, but I really appreciate all of you tuning in. We had a good turnout tonight. Thank you very much. And I want to hear what you have to say about Mamdani, about the Tate brothers, about Hunter Biden, this guy out there trying to sell his art and knocking everybody other than himself and his father, which he should be at least keeping quiet or at least tell the truth. So that's how it is today. How do I always leave you? Same way, never going to change. Be safe, be healthy. God bless each and every one of you. And I really mean that. Your families, your friends, your communities, your neighborhoods. God bless America, because we need God's blessings in this country. We have a tough deal ahead of us, people. So we need God's blessing. And yes, I will see you next time. And watch out for Ministry Monday. I'm going to be doing that live, not this Monday, but starting the following Monday. This Monday will be I think the next Monday is the 4th. So I think it'll be the 12th. Okay, the 12th to the 13th, we'll be starting Ministry Monday. And I don't care what religious persuasion you are, you're going to enjoy this, because I speak the truth, and I think it's going to be helpful to all of you. Okay, that's it. Take care. See you next time.